Kayak on YouTube, but you, oi, no kayak. It's time for a world of palindromes on Life's Potluck Buffet. Today's episode is all about things that go the same forwards and backwards, and we'll ask the cards if our lives go the same forwards and backwards and see what they have to say. I'm John Paulus. You're listening to Life's Potluck Buffet only on YouTube. If you're enjoying Life's Potluck Buffet, please subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, thank you for your subscription. If you have a Brave browser, you can now contribute basic attention tokens to Life's Potluck Buffet with John Paulus on YouTube through that Brave browser. Thank you for your support, and thank you for listening. Okay, I get that my improvised palindrome doesn't make a lot of sense, but most palindromes don't make a lot of sense. It's really hard to have something running forward and backwards that is longer than a couple of words and makes a lot of sense. There's a really famous one, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. I guess that's about Ferdinand Marie Comte de Lesseps, the engineer who designed the Panama Canal. Oh, and also designed the Suez Canal. So a lot of canals. That's another palindrome I saw. Zeus's Suez. So there you have it. See, they don't make a lot of sense. But that didn't stop a guy named Lawrence Levine from the rhyming town of St. Augustine in Florida from taking a couple of decades to write a 167-page novel that was and is a palindrome. Now, I tried to get my hands on a copy of this novel, and the only thing I could find is that the UCLA library in Los Angeles, California, seems to have a copy in the library catalog, a hard copy of this. And so that's the only place I've seen it available. So maybe that's the only place to get it. The Butler University, which is in the Midwest of the United States, has I think the introduction or an introduction to the novel by the author that gives a little analysis of the novel, which, if it exists in its 167-page form at the library at UCLA, then it exists. But if any of you out there have read it, let me know. Interested to know what you think of it. By the way, the title of this novel is Dr. Awkward and Olson in Oslo. And the "and" is styled as an ampersand so that it works as a palindrome. Otherwise, the title's not a palindrome, because AND is backwards is DNA. And so it would be Olson in Oslo, DNA, Dr. Awkward, which is not very helpful. But the author styles the "and" as an ampersand, the little symbol for "and" that we've talked about before. So the introduction and analysis that the author gives in this short document of about 6 pages is telling. I think we know that this novel might be hard to read, and we already know that from a review from the Los Angeles Review of Books in the 80s, because, well, the author sent the Los Angeles Review of Books a copy of the novel, apparently, and the folks looked it over, and the author of the brief review said it's, a kind of stream of consciousness style because, well, palindromes don't tend to make a whole lot of sense, especially long ones. So it has to be it has to sound a little choppy. It kind of sounds like, well, let me give you an example. Apparently, at the center of the book, on page 83, Dr. Awkward is imprisoned and is complaining about his situation. And I think it's kind of cool, but the author put Dr. Awkward's name at the very center point of the novel. So if you start from page 167, apparently, and read that way, the center part is going to be Dr. Awkward. And if you start on page 1 and read forward, then the very center is the name Dr. Awkward. I think that was a nice touch. But let me give you the sentence. I deplore media, rats, gals, a tar bag, and a maniac, Dr. Awkward Kane, a mad nag, a brat, a slag star, Demerol, pedicular addenda, Edgar. So that the main part of the palimpsest begins in the pedicular addenda. PEDI are the first 4 letters of pedicular, and the if you read them backwards, it's IDEP. It's the first 4 letters of I deplore. So that's where the reversal happens. So that's kind of neat. So the word palindrome is a made-up word by a guy named Henry Peacham, who in the 17th century came up for a little Latin phrase he wrote about a town that he didn't like very much. And that he called a palindrome, meaning it runs forwards and backwards again. And that is a coinage that he made. So that's where the word palindrome started and meant running back again. So that's because it runs backwards and forwards. Now, I think, the most entertaining palindromic experience, and I will put this in the description, is Weird Al Yankovic's song Bob, which Weird Al does in a Bob Dylan style, and it is amazing, and I really can't recommend it enough. Every line is a wonderful palindrome, and it's just I don't even know where to start. That's how much I like the song, because there are lines like Lisa Bonet ate no basil, and one of my favorite 3 lines is Naomi, I moan, a Toyota's a Toyota, a dog, a panic in a pagoda. It's just too good. So listen to that song, because plus it's in Weird Al doing an impression of Bob Dylan, so it adds to the hilarity of it. So, but don't take my word for it. Just go down in the description, click on that link, and enjoy. Listen to it a couple of times. But palindromes aren't just words, and the whole concept developed. So you could have palindromic numbers, like the 22nd of February in 2022, in a place where you write numbers out in that order. In the US, it would be not a palindrome. But in the, let's say, United Kingdom, certainly would be a palindrome. 2202 2022. See, that's a palindrome. Music, there are musical palindromes. There are a lot of composers, not just words like Weird Al, but also musical notes. So that's not an uncommon thing, where composers have done palindromes in musical notes, and all sorts of sounds. Like funny enough is a palindrome, but not because of letters, but because of the sounds. If you say funny enough backwards, you get funny enough. Funny enough. So I just said it backwards. It's the same, backwards and forwards. So that's the beauty of palindromes. So let's just ask the cards about what we can do in our lives so that maybe we could run something forwards and backwards. I don't know what they think about all of this, but here we go, cards. I don't think any card is a palindrome, but we're going to find out. It's probably going to be passions over hobbies. Okay, so yellow lemons, blue dumplings, magenta noodles, cards, tell us somethings. All right, here we go. Oh, it's card 41. Mentor, as if you were the one being mentored. Oh, well, I guess that's the closest we're going to come, because the card does, after all, at least repeat the word mentor. That's something. I think that's cards. Good work. That's the closest we're going to do. So there's no perfect mentor, no perfect mentee. There is only one litmus test for good mentoring, and that is that the mentoring is done with the care of both persons involved. So, talk about a mentoring relationship that involved mutual care, or in honor of palindromes, the reverse, one that did not involve mutual care. And I'll be back like a palindrome tomorrow on Life's Potluck Buffet.